Alright everybody, so I'm going to try to do this Qualcomm situation, try to show and explain how to use the Qualcomm features on it here and there. I'm not going to go through everything all at once. It's just I'm trying to see if I can get it clip by clip or see how many macros I could go through. So this is how I use Qualcomm. It's not how everybody else uses it. Different macros, people use it differently, and so on and so forth. Every macro on here is not just for one specific driver. It's split up between drive-in, reefer, flatbed, doubles, triples, dedicated. So it's just a mixture of everything. There's like 63 macros, and we don't use nowhere near half of them. Or at least I don't, because I don't really need to. But give you a rundown real quick on just the basics of it, and I might show a macro or two. But here we go. Hopefully you guys can see it. I have the brightness down as low as it could go, so hopefully you can see it. And I'm holding the GoPro as I'm talking and explaining and dealing with it. Alright, so here you go. This is the Qualcomm. As you can see, it goes down, it goes up. This is just my CB mic. I leave it there so it doesn't flop everywhere. But as you can see, you got a home button, which this is the home page. You got your keyboard, which you can use your keyboard when you start typing. Tells you how much service you got, 3G, full bars, or Wi-Fi. It's called the MCP200. This is just one of those things to where it's like if you didn't put in your vehicle inspection report at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, it'll pop up each time. The diagnostic crap is when everything was fine, but all of a sudden it just had an issue of recording, which it still records regardless. But other than that, usually that's not there. Right now this shows how many hours you got. It starts off with your full 8 hours, and then it winds down. So because of course you got 8 hours until you have to take a 30-minute break. And if you click on it, it'll tell you what time it is in the time zone that you're dispatched out of. So another feature on that. As you can see, you got messaging, hours of service, navigation, trailer management, login, performance monitoring, scanning, and media manager. Now, trailer management, scanning, and media manager you don't use. Some companies might have it to where you can use it, but we don't use them. The performance monitoring is basically boils down to your summary of over your RPMs, your idle time, over speeding, cruise, how long you've been on cruise control, how long you've been in top gear, your distance for the day, your fuel, and then your miles per gallon, and then so on and so forth. Don't really want to get into that right now. But over here you got your home button, and you got your talk button. Don't really use that for anything. You got up, down, left, right. Then you got the back button. You got your clipboard, which I don't really know what the clipboard does. It doesn't really work. Then you got your volume, go up. And then when you push, since your volume's up, you can put home.
Home. Messaging.
And it'll talk to you. Same thing with the navigation. It'll talk to you as you're driving. Just turn the volume back down. Then you got your light, your brightness. You go all the way up, which probably is dark. So hopefully you guys could see it still. You got your keypad right here. You could use it to type in, or like I showed you earlier, you could just type it in here. But it's easier just to go ahead and use this keypad. So now go on to messaging. Now I tell everybody it's just like a cell phone. You got your inbox, which these are the messages that the company sends you throughout all day or whatever. This is where you look at your load information, all that. So like here I ended up doing a review on something earlier, and these two messages were sent back, confirming my message or telling me whatever. But like I said, it's just like your phone, all your incoming text messages. And then your outbox, of course, is everything that you sent out. So all the macros that you sent are shown right here. It holds quite a bit on messages. Like on my inbox, I probably have like, let's see, if you click on it, this is 1 out of 315. I usually delete a lot of these messages. I just haven't got to it. So that's your inbox, and then of course, like I said, your outbox, and then you got compose. Now compose is all of your macros, the 63 macros, and this is what you use to let the company know what's going on with you, with your load, everything. This is your communication to the company. So every macro that's in here, it's for a reason. Like I said, we don't really use a lot of these macros, at least I don't anyways. So it also depends on if you're dry, reefer, flatbed, or doing doubles or something. So other than that, let me see, you go home, you got your hours of service. This is my students' hours. It'll tell you right here your status is off duty, what time you started your off duty, what is it now from the time you started your off duty, and then duration on how long you've been off duty, and the exceptions, just none. It'll say when the last time you did your 34-hour reset, which he did his on the 19th. You got hours to be gained tonight, which is 0. Hours to be gained in the next 2 nights, which is 0. And these are more for like if you start understanding how to run recaps, and we'll get to that later. And then you got mileage today. So he only drove 324 miles today, basically 325, and that's from Phoenix to the terminal where we're at right now in Jurupa. Okay, and then you got your summary. Your summary shows your 8 hours, your 11 hours of driving, your 14 hours on duty, and your 70. So your 8 hours, you got 8 hours until you have to take a 30-minute break. Basically, that's your 8 hours, and that's what shows up right here. So when you start your clock and go on duty, this starts winding down. It starts from 8, and then it starts clocking down. So every time you look up here, you'll see it'll start off with 8 and then start winding down. And then this will pop up if you get within the hour of your clock. You got your 11, which you can only drive 11 hours a day. Then you got your 14, which if you look right now, his 14 is less than his 11, so that means his 14 caught up, and he'll be running off of his 14-hour clock since he sat for so long. And as you can see up here, your 14-hour clock matches up here to where technically that clock would match up to your 11. But since your 14-hour clock caught up, that's what you're going off of now. And then of course you got your 70, what you have left for the week. He has about 41 hours and 50 minutes. He's at home he went home tonight, so he'll have a 34 before he gets back into the truck. And then you got your clock, which I don't really look at the clock part, but it gives you USA, Canada, Maine, North Canada, so on and so forth. But like I said, I don't really look at this one. You got your graph. Basically, this is your paper log. If you want to break it down, this is paper logs. All they did from having paper logs is put it all in a computer system, and it does everything for you. Every time you go off duty, it'll switch the line to off duty. You go on duty, it'll switch it to on, driving, on, off. It does it all for you. So you're not sitting there with a pencil and a ruler trying to make sure you do all the lines and all that. And then as you can see it over here, it calculates each status that you switch to. And then of course it'll tell you up here your status right now, your location that you're at, your duration you've been sitting here, date and time, mileage today driven, and then the date for today. Then you got your day log, which your day log is pretty much just like your graph. The only difference is it's written out. And then you got your 8 days. These are 8 days in the week, 8 days out of the week, to where even though we have 7 days out of the week, this is where your recaps come into play. But it's 8 day log. So when he started his first, after his what was it, his 34 was up, he drove 9 hours and 27 minutes of just driving, and he used 9 hours and 59 minutes of on duty. Now your on duty is added with your driving. So whatever hours you drove on duty, or whatever hours you drove plus whatever hours you went on duty, is the on duty part. Driving and on duty adds up. So give you just a rundown of that. And of course it gives you your date, the mileage, your driving, your on duty hours, and basically that's all it's going to show you. Now you got your certify, which is basically approving logs. When you ever see a message that says please approve your logs, this is what they're talking about. Click on certify. Like today, it's the 23rd, it has a red X on it and it says please certify. Well, all of this is basically your hours of everything you did, just in a different form. It still gives you your start time, the status of on duty, driving, or off, how many minutes, the duration that you were on for that status, and then over here you got your location of where you were at, and then origin, which is auto or driving or whatever you're doing. But this you would always want to, as long as everything's correct on your end that you could see when you look at it, you just go to certify and then agree, and now it's certified, and you'll see that it's green and all your status changes are green, so they're approved. And you do that for every day of the week. Also, you got your load. It usually gives you your load number, the day that you started on it, and then the day that you're ending on it, of course your bill of lading, and what trailer you have. And that's pretty much it for that. Also, down here, look at your history. Of course, it's just another form of it. New load, you could write down, you could put in the load information instead of letting it do automatically, which usually you have to. So that's your hours. Hopefully that gave you more of an idea.
You have 4 hours and 4 minutes of remaining drive time.
So
Messaging.
I was really trying to go to this to explain, but I just for some reason ended up doing the hours. But alright, so hopefully this video gives you an idea. I ended up getting off track of how I was gonna do it, but I ended up going over the hours. There's a lot to explain on this thing, but there's also a lot that you don't really deal with. I'm just showing you the rundown or a slight explanation, hopefully an understanding explanation or an idea of what certain stuff is and how it works. So if you like it, I'm gonna try to do like the macros. I'm gonna go through every macro, but explaining it takes time apparently, and I'm not a quick talker / I don't plan it out when I do it. I just hit record and go back and then do it. So let me know if you like it. Like I said, this is my first video, excuse me, and I'm gonna do more. Not sure which ones I'm gonna do next, but I am gonna go through the macros, probably do so many macros, because a lot of students have a hard time contemplating of how do you use it. So I'm gonna go through that. But yeah, like, subscribe, or let me know what you think. Once I post it, I'm gonna have more to come. I'm not sure how quick I'm gonna do them. They're probably gonna be like here and there. So other than that, you guys have a good day, and see you guys shortly.